Baki Hanma is an ambiguous character. All my life I have been striving to take revenge on my father and surpass him. After the events in the Chinese arena, he respected his father, and later even forgave him. Although Yujiro killed his mother, beat up his friends, and repeatedly killed his faithful friend the monkey, all his life he was accustomed to strength and did not give hints of freedom of choice. I left him only one path, the path of power. In this video, I want to analyze the hero and his motivation. The stages of character development from the very beginning to the present, including the manga that is currently being released. Bucky is only 13 years old in the season, but he is already the thunderstorm of the whole city. All bandits are afraid of him. Every bully knows his name. They do not hesitate to take swords, bats, and clubs against him. They know that Baki Hanma is an unusual child, a real monster. Once, he alone put down 37 hooligans, even with guns, but it wasn't enough to catch up with Yujiro, his father. All his life, Bucky was raised as someone who should please his father, fight with him, give pleasure to the battle. His mother showed only a material interest in Bucky, but not a spiritual one. Baki was a means to achieve her goal of getting Yujiro's attention back. In pursuit of his father, he met with many opponents, won skirmishes, trials that could take his life. But what made him do all this? The answer is obvious and lies on the surface. Baki himself stated that he aspires to at least a share of his mother's love, even if this love is lower than that shown to his father. Bucky was always chasing his mother's love. Yujiro is only a means to achieve this goal. And what was Yujiro interested in? Well, he wanted to get a new toy, a fighter who could fight back and quench his thirst for battle. Yujiro's goal is to absorb Baki, and Emi, Baki's mother, was only a means to achieve Yujiro's goal. It's ironic, isn't it? Everyone used each other to achieve their goals. A triangle of relationships where everyone tries to get something opposite to what the other wants, and in the end, no one got what they wanted. Yujiro did not absorb Bucky, as Emi protected him, becoming an obstacle for Yujiro. Baki could not get his mother's love, as Yujiro killed her, which became an insurmountable obstacle for Baki. Emi did not receive Yujiro's love due to the fact that Baki awakened maternal feelings in her, surpassing the desire to receive attention and love from Yujiro. Each prevented the other, and no one achieved their goal. It's sad, because that's how this triangle ended. Yujiro killed Emi, leaving only a line with two dots, where the first wants to kill the second, avenging the mother, and the second wants to devour the first to quench his thirst. Now Baki and Yujiro have the same goals. They want to kill each other. Now they will be able to achieve the result, which will be the death of one of them. But Yujiro has already tried Baki's current strength, and it's not enough for him. Up until the 6th season, he decides to wait until Bucky gains strength, and when confronted with him, he quickly knocks him out so as not to injure and spoil the intrigue. This is how the first stage of the hero's life ended, where he set himself a goal, to kill his father, in order to avenge his mother. The second dash is the 3rd season. After the tragic events of his youth, he moves into a new phase of his life, the search for strength to defeat his father. He tries out a lot of training, fights with various fighters in different parts of the world, and eventually returns back to Japan to the underground arena, where the strongest fight. There he quickly becomes a champion, and when the father comes to visit his son, he knocks him out in a matter of seconds. From this, Bucky realizes that he is not ready to defeat his father. During all this time, he does not want to repeat the path of his father. He does not want to be like him. He hates him for killing his mother, for his character and actions. Even when the suicide bombers appear, Baki still does not want to follow Yujiro's path, but has already subconsciously set foot on this road. Ask why? If you look at Yujiro's road, it's endless fights and training in the face of incessant fighting. This is Yujiro's whole life, absolutely everything. Battles, fleeting pleasures, and then fighting again. Only then did Yujiro begin to try the other side of life. Expensive restaurants, beautiful clothes, culture, recreation, and vacations. It was at this point that the ogre's personality passed into Yujiro's personality. From a ruthless machine in the 1st and 2nd seasons, Yujiro began to transform into a normal person with culture. But the path of gaining strength was identical to that chosen by Bucky. That is, endless battles, training, and fleeting pleasures. Believe me, Bucky didn't have any full-fledged life. This is an exaggeration. He threw away his normal life in pursuit of a goal. Bucky was unknowingly walking along the path and clearly denied it. The formation of his path was based only on gaining strength, which made Yujiro's path the best fit, even considering genetics. Apparently, Bucky unknowingly parodied his father, and the psyche simply protected itself from any suspicion that Bucky was following his father's path, contradicting itself, but protecting itself. The fourth dash is the 5th season. When Bucky got all the keys to the Force and just started using them to the maximum, he began to realize who had presented them on a platter, from sex to other aspects. That's all Yujiro has been through. The only new thing from Baki is the shadow fight. The rest is the father's way. Baki began to see Yujiro from a different angle, from the angle of the discoverer, the one who revealed his ways of gaining power to him so that he could climb to the top and finally take his sad throne. Why sad? You will understand in the next chapter. In the meantime, it was in the 4th season that Bucky fully accepted his father. He respected him, it was in the Chinese arena, he was worried about him, and it was obvious. Yes, even in the 2nd season, it was traced. Baki still had warm feelings for his father, even after all the things he had done. But Baki could see how Yujiro was changing. He was becoming more reserved, smarter, and insightful. It is still difficult to imagine Yujiro's life without constant fights. Difficult, but not impossible. After accepting his father, Baki has already openly decided to follow his path and become a free man who will not be restrained even by state forces. Baki stood on the same level as Yujiro, the level of utter freedom. And what did Yujiro think? Yujiro changed and got into his son. He himself began to respect him, to recognize him, but he still considered him as a toy. After becoming free, Bucky only got closer to his father, but did not reach him, from which he did not stop training, and Pickle appeared in time. A prehistoric creature that overpowered his father in pure physical strength. It's an incredible feeling. He defeated all the fighters he fought. Retsu, Katsumi, Jack, Hanayama. Everyone suffered crushing defeats. Yes, even Bucky suffered a crushing defeat with a single blow from Pickle. Of course, he wasn't ready then, but still, one punch means something. He couldn't imagine Pickle's strength, and neither could his father's. These were the only two characters he couldn't visualize as shadows completely. In the end, Bucky overpowered Pickle because of his technique and speed, but deciding to compete in physical strength, he was completely defeated. But Bucky still realized that he could defeat an opponent who surpassed him in physical parameters. In further events, Baki began a battle with Yujiro, where the latter was very pleased with Baki and even praised him. He showed kindness in battle, but Bucky denied it. During the fight, Yujiro showed his love, the love of the strongest being on Earth, a very peculiar love. Eventually, Baki was able to get into it and forgive Yujiro, which ended the conflict. The two dots that sought to kill each other destroyed their original goals as they matured and went through a lot, which makes them no longer interested in what was interesting a few years ago. Bucky has become much stronger, calmer, and most importantly, now he had no purpose in life. His only goal was to kill his father, but now he does not want this since he no longer needs revenge. The current Yujiro does not pursue power or battles. He is satisfied with everything. It feels like he still has that fuse, but he no longer runs around the world to satisfy his hunger. But what about Bucky? He never wanted to live the life of the strongest. He just wanted to be in the family. He got this family. Now his father has become normal. He has a good brother. He has a girlfriend he loves. But what's in the manga? The author of the manga seemed to have forgotten about him, shifting absolutely all the emphasis on the antagonist, then on the minor characters. Baki has disappeared. He exists limply in the work, becomes constantly stronger, and perhaps has already become stronger than Yujiro. Considering that even that Yujiro couldn't put Sukuns on the floor, and Baki did it without any problems, and both were without backs, Bucky also has a demon brain. In short, Bucky has most likely already become the top 1 character in the version. If the battle between Yujiro and Baki had happened, then most likely Baki would have won, at least this time. But it doesn't matter anymore. they won't fight. They have everything completed. The conflict is lost. Now the burden of the strongest is on Bucky, but he doesn't seem to care. He does not live, he just communicates with friends, walks and fights, but there is no sign of that fuse, that joy of life. If he is surprised, it is only from good opponents. Doesn't remind you of anything, does it? Yes, it's Yujiro, just more calm. But the path is the same, an aimless existence. At least Yujiro has sired children, but Baki literally does nothing. He got everything, but he was left with nothing, literally a loser. Having done everything he wanted, he no longer has the desire for anything. Bucky's endless talent gave him everything he wanted, but he literally doesn't need it anymore when you've already achieved everything you wanted. So let's summarize. Bucky aspired to love, but could not achieve it, switched to revenge, but having abandoned it, there was nothing left, only the endless emptiness and meaninglessness of being. Bucky is dead as a character. As a person, he just continues to live by the inertia of how he lived before. Having embarked on the path of Yujiro, he experiences the same difficulties. But if Yujiro has found a way out of them, has had many children, has learned culture, and in general, fights are like his favorite job for him, but at the same time, he has another part of life, then Baki has nothing but his favorite job in the form of fights. You know, it's kind of like a path of self-destruction, because Bucky has reached the peak in his favorite job. He's on top of Mount Everest. There's nowhere to develop further. The author understood this, and it was because of this that he shifted all attention to Jack. That's all. Thanks for watching. Put likes, subscribe to the channel, and write comments.